Omid came to know the Lord. Omid grew up in a Muslim family and always had a fascination with stories. He loved reading books and watching movies.
Because my father's job is the movie producer, and always we reading the book and watch the movie.
His interest in books led him to read books about world religions at a young age.
I often read religious book just to compare in with other religious, and prove myself that religious is made by the human mind. And I believe that all religious books wrote by the genius who wants to control the people. Until my wife's friends gave us the New Testament and asked us to read it. I agreed to read and make note for the problems I would find. But the more I read, love enemies, love your neighbors, when I read the book of Matthew, I thought to myself that I need to find the Old Testament to may find the contradictions about it, because it's older.
So when you picked up the New Testament, your whole mindset was, I'm going to read this and I'm going to figure out the mistakes in it so that I can tell my friends, yeah, I read your book, but there's a list of all the things that are wrong with it.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. When I read the book of Matthew, I wanted to have the Old Testament, because I said it's the older book and I can find that the more mistake or error there. I didn't ask anyone because I didn't want someone to know that I read the New Testament. Till one night I had a dream. I was in a big ship and many boats around us. And there was a man on the deck with some people around him. They called me to come and pray for him.
Now it was strange that Omid would be asked to pray in his dream. The idea of crying out to a personal God was different than the prayers he had grown up with in Islam.
Suddenly, a man in white touched my shoulder from behind. He showed me the box in a corner and gave me the golden guitar and a small box wrapped in a piece of cloth, and then said, stay on my way.
I'm going to repeat some of Omid's story because I want to make sure you understand and hear what he's saying. In Omid's dream, he saw a man in white. Omid was given a guitar. Now, that may seem a little bit strange until you realize that music was about to become a significant part of Omid's life and a way that he would start serving the body of Christ. He was also given a package, a gift, and he was told by the man in white, stay on my way. That was all fresh in Omid's mind the next morning when his car wouldn't start. He had to hurry to get to work on time, and he decided to take a taxi.
He didn't pick up any other passengers. In Iran, it's not normal to only you take the one passengers. Usually the taxi take the 4 passenger, and after he start to go for the directions. When we arrived, I get out the taxi, I asked for the fare, but he handed me a package.
The taxi driver gave Brother Omid a package that looked an awful lot like the one he had seen in his dream the night before.
I was so confused, and when I finally recovered, the taxi driver was gone. When I unwrapped it, I was shocked. It was the Bible, that means the Old Testament and New Testament together. It was, unbelievable.
Omid had never owned a complete Bible before. Now, you and I probably didn't receive a Bible under such dramatic circumstances, a dream, a mysterious taxi driver. But this story is a great reminder that the Bible is a precious gift to us, just like it was to Omid.
My hand was shaking, and when I started to touch it, it was, unbelievable.
Now, God used a dream to get Omid's attention, but that was only the first step in him understanding the gospel. When Omid and his wife started to read the Bible, their hearts changed right away. They both came to faith in Jesus to forgive their sins and make them new. Right away, Omid faced opposition in his newfound faith. Remember Omid's father, the film producer?
My father was the first one who stand against me because he was the known movie producer and needed the government permit to screen his movies.
Omid's father was in danger of being ostracized and penalized financially because of his son's commitment to Jesus Christ. So he rejected Omid and cut him off from the family. This made it so important for the body of Christ to come around this young couple and support them. But unlike you and I, Omid and his wife couldn't just drive down the street and walk into the nearest church building.
When I wanted to find the home groups or the church, it was very difficult to they trust us or enter to the home groups. I remember our leaders in the first time he invite us to the coffee shop, and me and my wife we was waiting for 3 hours there because the leaders was late. And after that, he said, yeah, because we checked everything, there is any problem or any spy or some things. But when we start, it's very difficult to find the home church. It's very difficult to talking about that.
The house church in Omid's area was cautious at first. They have to be. But they came to realize this young couple had truly encountered Jesus Christ. Omid and his wife joined this home church and got involved right away. Omid was a musician and a recording engineer, and he started helping the church record worship songs. But this was happening as persecution inside Iran was increasing.
We divided to a smaller group for more security. We started gathering in our home hiddenly to worship and pray and share the gospel. And I was leading the worship in at that time until the government made a problem for the home church. Identified our Christianity activity, and the leaders decided to not gather as a group. After a few days, I forced to leave Iran forever. I left and went to the Cyprus.